Ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's talk about something real, something deep. Let's talk about blessings, God's blessings. Now, I'm not talking about luck or coincidence. I'm talking about the gifts, the opportunities, the miracles that come straight from above. But here's the truth. Blessings don't just fall into your lap. You got to be ready. You got to be open. You know how to receive them. You see, God's blessings are always there waiting for us. But the question is, are you in the right place mentally, spiritually, emotionally to receive them? Today, we're going to break it down step by step. How to position yourself, how to prepare yourself, how to live in a way that attracts those blessings into your life. Let's get to it. Faith is the foundation of receiving God's blessings, because without faith, it's impossible to align yourself with His plan for your life. Faith isn't just about believing that blessings exist. It's about trusting in the unseen, the unknown, and the promises that God has laid out for you. Faith is what gives you the strength to keep moving forward even when the road seems unclear or when the odds are stacked against you. It's the quiet confidence that whispers, keep going. Got this. And that, my friends, is where it all begins. Now, faith isn't just something you say, it's something you live. It's waking up every day and choosing to trust God even when life feels overwhelming. It's knowing that even in your darkest hour, He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating something far greater than you can imagine. Faith is active, not passive. It's a verb, not just a noun. It's the actions you take when you don't yet see the results. It's when you pray even though the answer hasn't come yet. It's when you give even though you feel like you don't have much to offer. It's when you love even though it's hard. Faith also requires a mindset shift. Too often people think of faith as a safety net, something to fall back on when things go wrong. But true faith is a foundation. It's what you build your life on. When your foundation is strong, you're not easily shaken. The storms of life may come, but you stand firm because your faith is rooted in something bigger than yourself. It's rooted in the Creator, the one who holds all things in His hand. And when your faith is in Him, you're already positioning yourself to receive His blessing. One of the biggest barriers to receiving God's blessings is fear. Fear and faith cannot coexist. Fear tells you to stay small, to play it safe, to doubt the goodness of God. But faith calls you to step out of the boat even when the waves are crashing around you. It calls you to trust that the same God who brought you this far won't leave you now. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you move forward in spite of it. You declare, God, I don't see the whole picture, but I trust you. And in that trust, you create space for God's blessings to flow. Another critical aspect of faith is obedience. Faith isn't just believing in God's promises. It's acting in alignment with His will. When God calls you to step out in faith, you have to act, even if it doesn't make sense. Remember, faith often requires you to move before you see the full picture. Think about Abraham, who left everything he knew to follow God's call, or Moses, who led the Israelites out of Egypt, trusting that God would part the Red Sea. These acts of faith didn't just demonstrate trust, they activated God's blessings. Faith without action is dead, and blessings often require movement on your part. Faith also invites surrender. It's about letting go of the need to control everything and trusting that God's plan is better than your own. Sometimes we block our own blessings because we're too focused on doing things our way on our timeline. But faith says, God, I surrender. I trust your plan, your timing, and your ways. This surrender isn't weakness, it's strength. It's acknowledging that the one who created the heavens and the earth is more than capable of taking care of you. Finally, faith requires persistence. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well, but true faith is tested in the waiting, in the trials, and in the silence. Can you keep believing when the breakthrough hasn't come yet? Can you keep trusting when you're in the valley? That's where faith grows the most. Every time you choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, and perseverance over giving up, you're building spiritual muscles. And as your faith grows, so does your capacity to receive God's blessing. Faith is the foundation. It's what aligns your heart, your mind, and your actions with God's divine plan. It's the starting point, the cornerstone, the thing that keeps you steady when everything else feels uncertain. With faith, you don't just hope for blessings, you live in expectation of them, knowing that the God who promised is faithful to deliver. Gratitude is a powerful force that transforms your perspective and creates a welcoming space for blessings in your life. It shifts your focus from what's lacking to what you already have. And in doing so, it opens the door for more to flow your way. Gratitude is not just a polite gesture or an occasional thought. It's a mindset, a way of being that influences how you see the world and interact with it. When you live with gratitude, you radiate positivity, and that energy attracts more of what you desire. Expressing gratitude acknowledges the blessings you've already received. It's a way of recognizing and honoring the work that God has done in your life. When you pause to give thanks, you're not just appreciating the tangible gifts you've been given, you're also acknowledging the lessons, the growth, and the moments of grace that have shaped you. Gratitude is a form of humility. It's recognizing that everything you have is not solely a result of your own efforts, but also a testament to God's provision and the support of others. Living in gratitude shifts your energy and creates a magnetic force for more blessings. When you focus on the good in your life, you amplify it. It's like planting seeds in fertile soil. The more you water those seeds with gratitude, the more they grow and bear fruit. This principle works because gratitude aligns your heart with abundance rather than scarcity. It helps you see opportunities where others see obstacles and opens your mind to possibilities that you might have otherwise overlooked. Gratitude also strengthens your faith. When you thank God for what He's done in the past, you're reminding yourself of His faithfulness. This builds trust that He will continue to provide and bless you in the future. Gratitude is a way of saying, God, I see what you've done and I trust you to keep working in my life. It shifts your perspective from worrying about what's next to appreciating what's now, creating a sense of peace and assurance that God is always working for your good. One of the most beautiful things about gratitude is that it's contagious. When you live a life of thankfulness, it inspires others to do the same. Your gratitude becomes a light that shines brightly, encouraging those around you to see the blessings in their own lives. This ripple effect creates a community of positivity and abundance where blessings are shared and multiplied. Gratitude has the power to transform not just your own life, but the lives of those you touch. Aligning your actions with God's purpose is about living in harmony with the divine plan for your life. It means choosing to act in ways that reflect God's will, values, and teachings. And it begins with understanding that your life is not just about your desires, but about fulfilling a higher calling. When you align your actions with God's purpose, you position yourself to live a life of meaning, joy, and impact. This alignment brings clarity, direction, and a sense of peace, knowing that you are on the path you were meant to walk. The first step to aligning your actions with God's purpose is seeking His guidance. God's purpose for your life is not something you figure out on your own. It's something you discover through prayer, reflection, and a deep relationship with Him. Prayer is your direct line of communication with God, and it allows you to ask for wisdom, direction, and understanding. When you seek God earnestly, He reveals His plan in ways that may be subtle yet unmistakable. He may guide you through Scripture, the counsel of wise mentors, or the circumstances in your life. The key is to remain open and attentive to His voice. Understanding God's purpose also requires humility. It means acknowledging that His ways are higher than your ways and that His plans are greater than your own. This can be challenging, especially when your personal desires or ambitions conflict with what you sense God is calling you to do. However, true alignment comes when you are willing to surrender your own agenda and trust that God's purpose is not only for His glory, but also for your ultimate good. Surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of faith and trust in God's infinite wisdom and love. Once you understand God's purpose, the next step is to take intentional action. Aligning with His will is not passive. It requires commitment and effort. Your daily choices, habits, and interactions should reflect the principles and values that God has outlined in His Word. This means living a life of integrity, kindness, and service. It means living others as God loves you, forgiving as He forgives, and striving to make a positive difference in the world. When your actions align with God's purpose, you become a living testimony of His grace and power. Community can play a vital role in overcoming doubt and fostering trust in God. Surrounding yourself with other believers who can encourage you, share their own experiences of trusting God, and pray for you can make a significant difference. Hearing stories of how others have overcome doubt and seen God's faithfulness can inspire you to hold on to your own faith. Church, small groups, or even a trusted mentor can provide support and accountability as you navigate seasons of doubt. Trusting God often requires patience, especially when you're waiting for answers or outcomes that haven't yet materialized. It's in the waiting that trust is refined and strengthened. Patience doesn't mean sitting idly. It means actively choosing faith every day, even when you can't see the results yet. Trusting God during these periods of waiting builds resilience and deepens your relationship with Him. It teaches you to rely on His timing rather than your own, understanding that He is never late but always works in the perfect season. There's also a profound sense of fulfillment that comes from serving others. Helping someone in need, uplifting a struggling soul, or contributing to a greater cause brings a deep sense of joy and purpose. This fulfillment is a blessing in itself, as it reminds you that your life has meaning and that you are part of something bigger than yourself. Serving others shifts your focus away from personal struggles or challenges, giving you a fresh perspective on gratitude and abundance. It helps you recognize the blessings you already have, even as you work to bless others. Serving others doesn't have to be grand or elaborate. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness make the biggest impact. A kind word, a helping hand, or simply being present for someone can change their day and yours. These small gestures create a ripple effect of goodness, showing that serving others. Patience in God's timing is one of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of faith. It requires trusting in a process that often doesn't align with your expectations, your plans, or your preferred timeline. Life is full of moments when you feel like you're waiting for an answer to prayer, a breakthrough, or clarity about the next step. This waiting can be frustrating and even disheartening at times, especially when you're surrounded by uncertainty. However, learning to trust in God's timing allows you to develop a deeper sense of peace, resilience, and faith, even when you can't see the full picture. God's timing is perfect even when it doesn't make sense to you. While it's natural to want things to happen according to your plans, God sees the bigger picture and knows what's best for you. He is not bound by the constraints of time, and his plans are always designed with your ultimate good in mind. What might feel like a delay to you is often God working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances, refining your character, or preparing you for something greater. Trusting in his timing means surrendering your need for control and believing that he knows what you need when you need it. Patience in God's timing teaches you to rely on him rather than on your own understanding. It's easy to grow anxious or impatient when you don't see immediate results, but faith calls you to trust that God is working even when you don't see evidence of it. Proverbs 3:05-6 reminds you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This kind of trust requires humility and a willingness to let go of your own agenda. It's an acknowledgement that God's ways are higher than yours and that his wisdom far surpasses human comprehension. Waiting on God's timing is not a passive experience. It's an active process of faith and obedience. While you may not have control over the timing, you do have control over how you respond during the waiting period. It's a time to seek God through prayer, study his word, and grow in your relationship with him. Waiting allows you to develop spiritual maturity as it stretches your faith and builds perseverance. James 1:3-4 teaches that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, which ultimately leads to spiritual completeness. This process refines you and prepares you for the blessings God has in store. Patience in God's timing also requires gratitude. It's easy to focus on what you're waiting for and overlook the blessings you already have. Recognizing the blessings already in your life is a powerful practice that shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, creating a sense of gratitude and contentment. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of daily life, constantly striving for more or focusing on what's not going right. However, when you pause to reflect on the blessings you already possess, you open your heart to a deeper sense of peace and joy. Acknowledging the good in your life, no matter how big or small, is an act of faith that aligns you with God's provision and goodness. Every day is filled with blessings, but they often go unnoticed because they're so interwoven into your routine. The air you breathe, the roof over your head, the food on your table, and even the ability to wake up in the morning are all blessings that can easily be taken for granted. Recognizing these simple yet profound gifts shifts your perspective, reminding you that even in the midst of challenges, there are countless reasons to be thankful. Gratitude for these everyday blessings fosters a mindset of abundance, helping you see the richness of your life rather than dwelling on its shortcomings. Relationships are another significant source of blessings. The people who support you, love you, and stand by you through thick and thin are gifts from God, whether it's family, friends, mentors, or colleagues. These connections enrich your life and provide comfort and strength. Taking the time to appreciate the presence of these individuals and the role they play in your journey is a meaningful way to recognize the blessings in your life. Expressing gratitude to them not only deepens your relationships, but also fosters a spirit of humility and thankfulness. Your talents, abilities, and opportunities are also blessings that deserve recognition. Each person is uniquely gifted, and those gifts are meant to be used to serve others and glorify God. When you take the time to acknowledge your skills, experiences, and the doors that have opened for you, it helps you see the hand of God working in your life. Even challenges and setbacks can be blessings in disguise as they teach valuable lessons, build character, and prepare you for future opportunities. Recognizing the growth that comes from difficult seasons is a way to see God's faithfulness, even when life doesn't go as planned. Health, both physical and mental, is another blessing that is often overlooked until it's compromised. If you are able to move, think, and function, you are experiencing a gift that many others might long for. Recognizing and taking care of your health is an act of gratitude, a way to honor the body and mind God has given you. Even in times of illness or struggle, focusing on the aspects of your health that are still functioning can cultivate a sense of hope and appreciation. Recognizing blessings also means appreciating the beauty and wonder of creation. The natural world is a testament to God's creativity and generosity. The warmth of the sun, the sound of birds, the colors of a sunset, or the peace of a quiet forest are all reminders of His presence and care. Taking time to notice and walking by faith, not by sight, is a profound act of trust and surrender that calls you to rely on God even when the path ahead is unclear. It means choosing to believe in His promises, His timing, and His plan, regardless of the circumstances around you. This kind of faith goes beyond what is visible or tangible. It asks you to step forward, not because you have all the answers, or because the way is free of obstacles, but because you trust the one who is guiding you. It's about putting your confidence in God's character and His word, knowing that He is faithful and will never fail you. Life often presents situations that challenge your ability to see the bigger picture. There are moments when the road ahead seems uncertain, when fear and doubt creep in, and when the weight of the unknown feels overwhelming. Walking by sight in those moments would mean relying solely on what you can see, understand, or control. However, walking by faith invites you to look beyond the temporary and trust in the eternal. It's a decision to believe that God is working behind the scenes, even when you can't see evidence of it yet. Faith is not about ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about choosing to trust God in the midst of those challenges. When you walk by faith, you acknowledge the difficulties, but refuse to let them dictate your actions or outlook. You hold onto the truth that God's power is greater than any obstacle, and his plan is bigger than any problem. Faith enables you to move forward with courage, even when the outcome is uncertain, because you know that God's ways are higher than your own. Walking by faith also requires letting go of the need for control. It's natural to want to map out your life, plan every detail, and ensure everything goes according to your expectations. But faith calls you to release that grip and trust that God's plan is far better than anything you could devise. Surrendering control doesn't mean being passive. It means actively trusting that God is leading you, even if the steps don't make sense in the moment. This kind of trust frees you from anxiety and allows you to experience God's peace, even in uncertain times. Faith grows stronger through action. It's not enough to simply believe in God's promises. You must also act on that belief. When God calls you to step out in faith, whether it's pursuing a new opportunity, making a difficult decision, or facing a challenge, he often provides just enough light for the next step. Walking by faith means taking that step, trusting that he will reveal the next one in his perfect timing. Each step of obedience strengthens your faith, building a deeper relationship with God and reinforcing your confidence in his guidance. Faith is especially important when you face trials or hardships. It's in these moments that your trust in God is tested and refined. Walking by faith during difficult seasons means holding on to his promises, even when everything around you seems to contradict them. It means trusting that he is using the trial to shape you, grow you, and prepare you for greater things. James 1:2-3 reminds you to consider it joy when you face trials, because they produce perseverance, which leads to maturity. Faith allows you to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth and deeper dependence on God. Walking by faith also involves a willingness to wait on God's timing. It's not always easy to trust when answers are delayed or when the path seems longer than you anticipated. Yet faith reminds you that God is never late and his timing is always perfect. Waiting with faith is an active process. It's a time to pray, seek his will, and prepare your heart for the blessings he is preparing for you. It's a reminder that God is working in ways you cannot see, and his plans are worth the wait. Faith is about keeping your focus on God, even when distractions and doubts try to pull you away. The world often encourages you to rely on your own abilities, achievements, or understanding. But walking by faith means choosing to rely on God's strength and receiving God's blessings is a journey that involves faith, trust, and a willingness to align your life with his will. It's not about seeking blessings for the sake of personal gain, but about positioning yourself to live in a way that honors God and reflects his love and grace. As you cultivate a heart of gratitude, embrace patience in his timing, serve others, and trust in his plan, you open yourself to the abundant blessings he desires to pour into your life. Remember, God's blessings are not just material. They come in the form of peace, joy, wisdom, and strength to navigate life's challenges. By letting go of negativity, embracing forgiveness, and walking in faith, you create a space where God's blessings can flow freely. Stay humble. Trust his process and know that as you seek first his kingdom, all other things will be added to you.